I discovered my husband on Tinder, so I went ahead and created my own account to try to find him. And when I found him and it said his distance away from me was less than a mile, I knew it was really him. So I confronted him and absolute mayhem breaks loose. He swears he did not make this account, but I know that he did. Hello everyone. My husband and I, married for 8 years, have been separated for the last 14 months. And I need help and advice on how to rekindle our relationship. We're currently not on speaking terms, and all of our arrangements go through our lawyer. But I'll have an opportunity over Christmas to clear the air and set things straight, as he'll be flying in from Sydney to spend time with the children. So, what happened? I received a Facebook message in September last year that my quote husband was talking and exchanging photos, suggested photos, with other women on Tinder. We spoke on the phone for a bit, and the only proof she had was a screenshot of their conversation and his profile. Long story short, I downloaded Tinder and I found his profile, which his location was less than 1 mile away. I was convinced that he was cheating, and we had a terrible fallout that evening, which led to my family coming over to calm down the situation. But instead, it escalated when my brother punched and grabbed hold of my husband. The neighbors called the police, and my husband was asked to pack a few things and stay elsewhere for a while. We separated shortly after that, and he's since moved to Sydney, Australia, to be closer to his ailing father, but sees our kids for a weekend twice a month. Let's fast forward to the beginning of November this year. My neighbor rocked up at my doorstep to tell me that her husband was catfishing women on dating apps using my husband's photos. He downloaded these photos from a MacBook that we lent to him during COVID, and some of these photos were of intimate nature, and of me. The police are currently dealing with this, and all of this has been relayed to my husband through his lawyers. But his response has been lukewarm. He said we can talk about it over Christmas. I'm so scared that we might be down too far the rabbit hole and that he'll likely push for a divorce. Even though I now know that we love each other deeply. But this took a massive toll on our mental health, finances, and well-being of our 3 children. What's up everybody, Mr. Reddito here. So this is an absolute horrible situation. There was multiple comments that were in the original post. We'll read some of them, and then we're going to jump into this update that might blow your socks off. Here's a couple of the comments, starting with comment 1. Your husband experienced something that you will never understand. A false accusation, an assault from your brother, spousal alienation, no right of recourse against a false accusation, a complete lack of loyalty from his wife, a complete lack of respect from his wife, the loss of life he had from a false allegation, parental alienation from his children, familial alienation from his in-laws, alienation from friends. The police were called and he had to leave. You separated from him. Your husband has already completed his grieving process. You ask, are you too far down the rabbit hole? Yes. I'm afraid there's no going back for you. You chose not to listen to him when he said it was not him. Comment 2. I agree. I don't think there's coming back from that. I understand you had reasons to believe he might be cheating, but it seems he had no chance to defend himself, and getting your family involved made everything even worse. He was punched and was told to leave his own house by the police. Has been living away from his children for the past 14 months and has been treated as a villain by his own friends. You say you love him, but I don't think love could erase everything you two have been through and rebuild the trust. Oh, here's another thought. Perhaps reach out to any and all of his friends. Make sure they all know the truth. Yeah, OP, try to salvage what you can for him, but I think the way things happened would have been very damaging. To be clear, I'm not blaming you for wanting to leave when you had clear proof, from your perspective at the time, that he's cheated. It's a reasonable reaction. But the way it took place seems insanely violent and dramatic. You two got messed up, not just by your neighbor, but also by your brother. Punching someone is never acceptable. It would have been a sucky and inappropriate reaction even if your husband had in fact cheated. Now, imagine how your husband must have felt, considering it was entirely unwarranted. Being married is being part of a shared family. The fact that your family got in the middle of it and bodily hurt him would make anyone think twice about getting back in. If you really work hard on mending those bridges, if you ensure everyone takes stock and is accountable for their mistakes, and that includes your brother, then you might, and I mean might, rebuild your relationship, but it'll most probably just take time. And now we're going to hop into the updates. Hello everyone, I've had quite a few people ask for an update on what happened after we discovered that my neighbor was using my ex's photos to catfish other women. Unfortunately, after having a sat down and discussing things, it was decided that our marriage was beyond repair, and that we should go our separate ways. He's in therapy and has requested that we have a clean breakup with no further contact in the future. I intend to respect his wishes, and will continue to communicate through his lawyers on matters that concern our children. I've since cleared the air with our families and friends and still actively work towards repairing his reputation. I'd also like to clarify the assault and why my parents came over in the first place. The night of the argument, I called my mother to ask if I could drop off our children and if they could spend the evening there, but she was concerned about my emotional state and asked that I stay put and they'll come over to fetch the children instead. They arrived and my brother opted to stay outside, while my parents come inside to grab the children and their bags. At this point, my father asked to talk to my ex and calm the situation, and my mom dragged me away to get the kids and their bags ready. My brother was very confused when we came outside and was triggered by my mom saying that my ex might have cheated. My brother reacted the moment my ex walked out and grabbed my arm, in a non-violent way, by the way, leading to the punch and scuffle on the front lawn. He was remorseful and apologized even before we found out my ex was not to blame. It's a series of unfortunate events that's changed many lives and robbed my family of our love and happiness. Now, I have to focus on my children, my depression, and coming to terms with my divorce. I'll never forget, but hopefully the pain won't be too intense. The comment section of this story was going absolutely crazy. Everyone's so upset at the neighbor. Here's a couple comments. I would be carrying that neighbor to court for identity theft, digital theft, revenge, and emotional damages for destroying my marriage. Oh, yeah, that would be my first course of action as soon as I heard of it. Since OP has already been talking to a lawyer, I don't think it'd be crazy to ask either who could help her in the case. Guys, I really want to know your perspective of this one. I cannot blame anyone except for the neighbor, because it just seems like, oh man, a lot of red flags. It was pretty obvious that he was cheating. I mean, a mile away. It was the neighbor this whole time. Who would have thought of that? Anyways, drop your opinions down below. Let's go ahead and discuss this one, and we'll look at the second story of the day. Title being this: Am I the a-hole for telling my neighbors that I don't care about their living situation? I recently relocated to Orlando from Miami. I moved to some apartments that most would consider really nice. Not high-end or anything, but definitely nice. Miami was just too darn expensive, which is the reason for my move. So, because I work from home and I have 2 dogs, I wanted to get a 2-bedroom apartment. One that can be an office that I can work from, and one for me to sleep. After having my office in the same room I slept in my last home, when I still lived with my mother, I felt suffocated, like if I ever go to escape work, it's just here. This has been much better for me mentally, and I feel like I'm actually leaving work after I close my laptop. So, I've been here about a month and recently saw a family moving in. I'm very introverted, so I did not introduce myself or anything. The only time I really ever have contact with anyone is when someone's walking their dog at the same time I am, or our puppies want to say hello to each other. Very quick small talk and then we're on our way. Today, as I was going back inside after walking my dog, I saw the wife, and I just gave a friendly smile, nothing more. I decided I should throw the trash out before I clock in for the day just to get out of the way. As I was walking back to my apartment, the wife stopped me to introduce herself. I introduced myself as well. She then asked if I lived with a girlfriend or anything. I told her no, it's just me and the puppy. She gave me a strange look and I can only describe as annoyed. She asked if my apartment had 2 bedrooms. I told her yeah, there are 2 bedrooms. She asked me why I wanted 2 bedrooms when I live alone and explained to her that the office sleep thing I mentioned above. Now, this is the part where I could be considered the a-hole. She said that it was really inconsiderate and rude for bigger, larger families to take up a 2-bedroom apartment by myself. That her family of 4, husband, wife, and 2 kids, have to share a 1-bedroom because people like me decide to steal the 2-bedroom apartments. I said that it sucks you feel that way, but there's nothing I can do about it. She said I should trade apartments with her. Guys, I thought she was joking, so I just start laughing. Not like a nervous laugh or anything, I just genuinely found her suggestion hilarious. I then said that her living situation does not concern me, and if she wanted a 2-bedroom apartment, she should have looked harder. She said she was going to report me to the building, and I said that she should include reporting me to the Florida governor while she's at it. I went inside and left her there screaming like a crazy banshee. Am I the a-hole for basically confronting this Karen? Guys, Mr. Reddito here. Could you imagine being in that situation? Whoa. There's an update. It came out. It was a short update. It came out 13 days after the original post, and the title is, Am I the a-hole for telling my neighbors that I don't care for their living situation? Here it is. First off, I want to thank everyone, all you guys, for your messages and comments. I really did think for a moment I may have just been a jerk to the lady, but I guess it's a crappy situation due to the affordable housing issue going on. So, to the update for you guys, I did not report her, although she probably deserves it if I decided against it. She's probably some angry woman who more than likely had her back against the wall with everything life's thrown at her. Yeah, she was being unreasonable, but I can imagine the stress of a parent is bad. That's not me excusing her, but trying to empathize and putting myself in her shoes. With that being said, she did make someone else mad. Not sure if it's for the same reason as me, but I heard her screaming at somebody else. I guess the guy she screamed at decided to report her to management. I haven't seen any moving trucks or anything, but I've only seen the husband and kids leaving the apartment. It looks like life is going on as usual, but to avoid eviction after having just moved in, I can only assume the husband has set some boundaries regarding her yelling at people. Sorry, it's not like a super juicy update, but it's just a crappy situation for her and her family, and she's probably stressed to a boiling point. Thank you everybody, and thanks for the guys that did report her though. For the rest of the residents living here can at least be at peace without her craziness and entitlement. Alright, so the comment section on this one's basically split 50-50. Some people are agreeing with the crazy Karen who was yelling out loud and almost got her family kicked from the apartment, and some are saying that she is that crazy. Here's a couple comments. Wait until she hears about millionaires in Miami who have mansions with dozens of unused bedrooms in all the houses, condos, and buildings that go unused most of the year because they're owned by wealthy people who don't want to need or use them that often. She might just blow a gasket. So it seems like a lot of the comments were just saying, hey, this lady's probably going to find a reason to complain about something. But I understand OP's perspective for trying to put himself in her shoes. Let me know your thoughts about this story, guys. That's going to be all the content for today. If you're new to the channel, go ahead and click that subscribe button, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Take it easy, and remember, it's cool to be kind. Peace!